Looking to improve your fitness business while keeping your bottom line in good shape? Let the Gym Administrator help you achieve those goals. With their powerful team of fitness industry professionals at the ready, the Gym Administrator covers a wide range of industry-related products and services that will help you build your business and increase profits. The Gym Administrator works with reliable industry suppliers and vendors that place a heavy emphasis on service, just the way you remember it. Give them a call at 914-494-1066 or visit them on the web at thegymadministrator.com as well as all social media platforms. The Gym Administrator, all your fitness needs under one roof. Scan the barcode at the bottom of the screen to get started today.
Shocked to hear that Abby couldn't read or write. Did you know that, or is he just working everybody?
You know what? I've heard that just this week, and I didn't. If it's true, nobody would know it. You could not tell. He couldn't read, couldn't write. I can't believe that he couldn't read or write. I mean, it would have had a hard time traveling around the world like he did if he couldn't read, knowing where he was going. I mean, and he traveled all over the world, Japan and anywhere else you may be thinking of, any foreign island and many places. So that he was not able to read and write, I can't. He had to distinguish things. He had to be able to read something, to my mind. I've been with Abdullah, Greg Valentine, and Bushwhacker Luke are my three oldest friends. I've known them since 1972. I met Abdullah in Utica, New York, and we became friends. I went to Cleveland to something called a three-ring circus, Cleveland. They had a big match, 3 rings set up on. He said, next week I'm going to be in Canada. You got to come see me. So me and my wife drove to Canada, to Montreal, and that's where I met Bushwhacker Luke. And at the same time I met Johnny. It was Greg. Greg was wrestling as Johnny Fargo. He was one of the Fargo brothers. Mm-hmm. You know, and that's when I met him. I met Abdullah then in 72, and we were in Puerto Rico, Japan, Trinidad, Curacao, Martinique. I can't name how many places in the U.S. I was with him. And at night, Abdullah would dress up to the nines. He would go out, suit, tie, everything after the matches. And he always liked to go out, always had a good time. Used to go to many of the casinos and other places, Puerto Rico and all around the world. You know.
George, there's so many people in this industry now. Do you feel that social media has possibly ruined pro wrestling? I mean, everybody's behind the curtain. I mean, take us, for example. I mean, you know.
Well, I find it amazing that everybody knows everything. Every 10 minutes on Twitter, there's a new scoop.
Right.
I can't see how that is, but it is. It's just the way it is. People want to hear it or write about it or talk it or be it. But everybody thinks they really know. When deep down, the people that are doing it themselves don't know all the time what they're going to do from moment to moment. So to say that they know what's going on, I don't buy it. I don't get it. I didn't live it. I mean, what I did, there was like 3-4 of us who kind of knew what was going on, but we didn't tell the world what it was. We might have spoken to each other, and then we didn't really know, quote unquote, know what was going on. I know I've heard people tell me, that I knew Superstar was winning. Well, you know what? I drove Superstar to Baltimore from Long Island. He lived down Long Beach, and I drove him to Baltimore. And on the way there, he says, "Hey, you better have a lot of film tonight." I says, "A lot of film? You're wrestling Bruno." He says, "Oh, yeah, it'll be a good match." I says, "I'm tired of you and Bruno. I have more pictures than I can ever use."
There you go.
That's how he told me that he was winning. Tonight's gonna be different. I said, "Yeah, come on, Billy. It's gonna be too different." And that was my knowledge driving from Long Island to Baltimore. And he wasn't trying to keep it away from me. He was trying to tell me, but I couldn't hear it.
Yeah.
Right.
Were you in shock that night? Like, did you drop your camera?
I was more in shock that, with like the rest of the crowd, they just like it was like a hush. Nobody knew what went on. I think he had, if I remember correctly, Billy had his foot on the ropes or he pinned him. Usually, what happens when something like that is the referee then recalls it, or the announcer would say, due to some technicality, Bruno. I'm sorry, Bruno. Bruno is still the champion.
Right.
You know, like they would make some kind of announcement if something went on. But he calls me and says, "We got to get out of here." So as soon as the match was over, I had to run to the back. He didn't take a shower. He didn't do anything. He put his clothes on. We drove right back to New York.
Wow.
And
So
the next day was his birthday.
I'm glad Farrell brought up the whole social media thing, right? Because, again, like we told you at the beginning of the show, we're just fans, right, that have a show.
Yeah.
We don't know who's real, who's fake, you know.
Yeah.
So we run across a lot of different people, and they have all these stories. Like, clearly everybody knows who you are. Like, you know, whether you want to call yourself an icon, that's up for debate. We're calling you an icon because you are. But
Thank you.
But
True.
there's other people that make statements. So it's like, you don't know who's Fugazi. So I'm going to throw a name at you and tell me if you know anything about this guy and help us out. And maybe if you have a story about him.
Can I plead the fifth on some?
You could plead the fifth on all you want.
If you want, that's fine.
I'm just going to give you one name because I hear this guy's name and I don't know what he's about, and I need someone clarity. So we had John Arrizzi in, and John Arrizzi, we call him like the godfather of events, and clearly he did such a good job. But there's another guy that comes up every so often, and I need someone of your expertise to help me with this. Dr. Mike Lano.
John Arrizzi's friend.
Oh, I don't know.
It's that one. Hey, wait a minute. That's what he's famous for? Never mind. Thank you. Thanks, George. We got what we needed.
Do you know Dr. Mike Lano?
Of course.
Is he the real
I
deal?
haven't seen him in a couple years.
Does he call you in the middle of the night?
But he was around. He was around a long time.
Okay.
But as far as traveling, he went to Japan early on a couple times.
Couple of
But
times.
as far as like traveling through the different territories and knowing a lot of people, he really didn't.
Right.
But
Okay.
he knows a lot of wrestling. A lot of times just being around it, you learn through osmosis.
Right.
But
Right.
I don't think he has any first-hand knowledge of anything special through all those years.
Well, the reason I bring him up because he's always touting himself as a great photographer whenever I hear him on, like, you know, some smaller podcasts. And I'm like, who is this guy? And I've never heard of him. And I thought, you know what? Let's go to the icon
Yeah.
photographer, and if he knows the other photographer.
Yeah, he knows him as John Arrizzi's friend. I'm sorry. You can plead the fifth, George. Go ahead. It's fine. It's fine.
He's been around a long time.
Okay.
He's been around a long time, and
So have I. Oy.
All right, I'll ask you one last
as
question
far
about it.
as what he knows, I really can't attest to what he really knows.
Did he fix wrestlers' teeth for free in order to get photos and sell them?
He may have done that on occasion. It sounds like something he would do.
Thank you, George.
Say
I love
cheese.
you. I forever love
George
you.
is
Thank
the
you.
greatest. He's the great. George, I got to ask you this though. How hard are you on yourself when it comes to your art? Did you ever like watch a match and I'm